My prediction for 2021 is a theme of existential interaction.
If you would like to learn about fairy folklore, delve into modern fairy faith spirituality, and explore fun and fanciful fairy-themed events, please subscribe to Fairy Fortunes for new videos every Friday.
Hello, my fair friends. I'm Ruby Ruse, and welcome to Fairy Fortunes. For today's episode, I'd like to share with you my predictions for 2021. If you're a subscriber to my channel, you may know that I prefer Geomancy as my favorite mode of divination. It is what the Fairy Fortunes card divination system is based on. So the projections that I have for you for 2021 are based on a Geomancy deluxe reading. The first symbol that I drew for 2021 is the symbol of Conuncio. And Conuncio is a symbol that represents interaction. It's a coming together of ideas, of people. It's also a character of recovery. So that was a very fortunate figure to see for the very first symbol for 2021. 2021 is still, however, going to be fraught with some challenges and difficulties, though, however. We have learned so much. We have developed and evolved this powerful sense of resilience, and that is going to place us in a really good place to go forward into 2021 and meet all of the changes and all of the challenges that we need to address. I do not think, however, that the coronavirus is miraculously going to disappear. We will still be seeing some illness, and we do need to continue to take care and protect ourselves and our loved ones from this very precarious illness. So just because the vaccine is coming out and things are looking upward, we cannot relinquish our precautions and come into 2021 without that solid base of preparation. Another theme that I see for 2021 is with the figure of Fortuna Minor as the final figure in the shield chart. Fortuna Minor, or as I call this figure, the Fairy Princess, is a very uplifting figure, and it can also represent a sense of generosity, and I really feel that that works well with coming out of all of these really repressive challenges that we had. I feel like we are going to grow from those experiences, and part of that is going to be this sense of generosity. So generosity, I feel, is going to be a theme for 2021. We're going to be able to develop our empathy in 2021, and so hopefully we will be able to see that generosity coming through in the greater world. With that sense of empathy, though, we are going to need to give up a little bit of our control. With empathy, you have to allow people to be who they are and not who you want them to be. You have to allow them to have the feeling that they're having in that moment and not be told by you what kind of emotion to have. So really a focus for us in 2021 is going to be able to sit with discomfort and really try to see people from their own perspectives and not as we wish that perspective to be. And while I have talked about these themes of coming together, of generosity, of empathy, 2021 should also be a time where each person tries to figure out what their life purpose is. What does justice look like to them? And how can that manifest in the greater world for the good of all? I feel like another energy that we're going to be seeing in 2021 is a concept of existentialism. In a Geomancy reading, Often what you're looking for in regards to a particular question is what's called a perfection. I have talked a little bit about geomancy before on this channel, so I will have a link for you or in a card right here up above my head that will explain some of these terms that I'm using in this. But in the case of geomancy, we're looking for a perfection. It's a direction. It is a culmination of the themes, if you will, in a reading. And in this reading that I did for 2021, where the chart perfected was actually in the 8th house, which I love to be dramatic about. It's called the House of Death. That's so, it's so dramatic. But House of Death does not have to be so dark and depressing. House of Death also relates to making changes, about going forward, leaving behind the old and moving forward into something new. In order for something new to be born, something old must pass away. So that is the message of the House of Death in Geomancy. The House of Death also gives us the opportunity to focus on existentialism, which I made mention is another important theme running through 2021. This is a time to appreciate the power and magnitude of the present moment, of really taking time to enjoy life, to celebrate the little things and the little joys of life. 2021 may also be a great time to do some reflection. It might be a great time to sit down and really do some estate planning. Maybe having some legal documents drawn up like wills and powers of attorney. Most importantly, I think that we should take nothing for granted in 2021. We should look at life as a true and beautiful gift, because it is. I do think that we will see some movement in a positive direction regarding the economy in many different places in 2021. There are going to be some losses, I think, financially for all of us as well as for the world at large. But I think that 2021 we're going to see a better balance of the financial realm, and things are going to start looking a little more stable for all of us. So that's something positive to see for 2021. I did make mention that I don't think the coronavirus is just magically going to dissipate. We are going to need to continue our socially distanced practices and stay at home as much as we can, which is going to feel very challenging for many of us as we've been home nearly all of 2020. So the prospect of staying at home again for another year is really going to be challenging. I think it is possible that the virus may relent. We might see some progress and some lowering of the positive cases, but probably not until the summer months. I'm thinking like mid-June, maybe late June or early July. And I think that we are going to see a positive change in May. So things are going to start looking hopeful in the month of May. Now, in my Geomancy reading for 2021, the figure of Caspit Draconis, the head of the dragon, appears in the House of Children. Now, the House of Children can actually mean actual children, so if you have been considering enlarging your family or starting a family, 2021 may actually be a good time to do it. As I mentioned with the estate planning, I would encourage a young family to maybe look at whether or not they need life insurance. There's no time like the present. Go ahead and make those babies, people. I really feel like individual life purpose is tied to connection. So while you need to delve deep into your own individuality and find out what moves you, what drives you, what you want to share with the rest of the world. In order to even create these revelations, is that you need to be sharing these interesting and deep conversations with people who are important to you. And while you can do this with family, sometimes it's our chosen family that really can hold these very emotional conversations with us. So people that have been with us, our friends, our companions as we go through our education, our workforce, these things. Now is the time when you are trying to figure out where you want to go, what your purpose for 2021 and beyond is going to be. Have these conversations. Get those ideas out of your head and share them with others. Not only is it going to help you define those purposes for yourself, you may also inspire people outside of yourself. And you are going to be inspired too by listening to others. We need to focus on inspiring one another in 2021. I also think that in 2021, the political turmoil that we've seen, especially in the United States, where Bunny and I live, I am happy to report that I really think that in 2021 we're going to see things kind of balance out and mellow out. That's a good thing. And when I say this, it's not so much about whether you're leaning one way or the other. As I said, the theme for 2021 seems to be about coming together and both sides supporting one another and creating a harmony with one another. So I'm very happy to see that. And while I think that 2021 is going to show us great progress, we're going to be making forward movement in the management of the coronavirus. We're going to see management of political turmoil, these kinds of things. However, there is going to be some limitations and restrictions. As I said, the coronavirus isn't going away, probably not until the summer of 2021. So there are going to need to be those social distancing and mask wearing and everything that we can do to protect one another in place. And it is going to be very hard and frustrating, but what I can say is that my prediction for 2021 is that it is going to be an improvement. We are going to make positive changes and things are going to be moving forward in an upward way, in a positive manner. But I don't think that we're going to be able to do everything that we want to do in 2021. And what I can say to that is sometimes those limitations and restrictions can show us how important certain elements are to us. If we don't get to accomplish something that we want to do, if we don't get to travel to a place we want to go in 2021, it shows us how attached we are to those things. Sometimes in the limitations and the restrictions, we find that they really aren't as important as we thought they were. But on the other hand, they can be very disappointing and they can be frustrations. And that frustration is what shows us how meaningful those ideas are to us. So if we find that we have restrictions in 2021, that is information to file away to make them priorities for 2022. Do hope that you have enjoyed this reading. If you liked this reading, I will link my playlist for fairy fortune readings down below and perhaps in a card above my head. And please remember that I am also on Facebook, and Instagram, so I do hope that you will follow me there, and I'm very, very excited to be continuing and making more videos for you in 2021. And with that, have a magical day.